Hello, thank you very much for checking out RB&D Reviews. I am Rob.
And I'm Dave.
And we just got out of seeing Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, which is a kind of a prequel and a sequel to the first Sin City movie that came out way back in 2005. So
yeah.
This movie's been a long time coming.
R&D Reviews. I'm Rob.
I'm Brendan.
And we're going to be putting together a series of YouTube movie reviews.
Sin City's where you go in with your eyes open. Or you don't come out at all.
You're the only man I ever loved.
Death is just like life in Sin City. It always wins.
The first film, it's an anthology of stories. The first film, the format was a little bit different, that you had like different almost segments, but some of the characters kind of interacted or entwined. Mm-hmm. This one, it's like one giant feature film and characters kind of interact, so you don't really have the segment. It's more, I guess, more like a regular movie, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Dave, a long time ago at the beginning of the blockbuster season, you gave off a list of a lot of movies you wanted to see this summer, and this
was one of them, yeah.
as well. So, did it live up to your expectations?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like we says, it's a sequel and a prequel. There's characters that were in the first one that basically had also died too. Like Mickey Rourke's character, he dies in the first film, I remember, and he's like back in this one, so that's basically what makes it like a prequel. And then there's like other characters in here that weren't in the first one. So, but yeah, it's a pretty good movie. The format of this one was a lot different, like you said. I actually kind of like this one better than the first one. Really, there's like more to go on with this one. So.
I don't know. I think I like the first film a little bit better. There's a little bit more of a central story. I mean, you do have a few, short stories. Like, for example, you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a sort of cocky gambler.
Yeah.
And then you have the main story with Eva Green as this sort of woman that, is predatory-esque. I don't know. Yeah. I just felt like this movie... What made it so fresh for me in the first film about, the film noir-ish dialogue and the lighting and how it was shot and the backgrounds and all that stuff. For here, it felt like we've been there and done that. I felt like because it's been so long since the first film came out that it kind of lost a little bit about what made it unique. I also got a little bit tired of some of the narration with the gritty narration a little bit over and over again. I mean, I liked it in the first film, but for some reason I felt like it just wasn't quite right here. I mean, it was an interesting movie to watch, but I just didn't feel quite as involved in this one as I did the first film. I felt like sometimes the stories went a little bit long. Like I said, but I mean, it's not a bad movie. I just don't think it's as good as the first one.
It's like, this one is more like it's like watching a comic book instead of reading one with all the narrations and whatnot, but there's the real fancy, heavy describing
and this
words.
Is what was weird for me. There's a lot of gore and violence here, and for some reason, after a while, I just got tired of seeing it. But I will say this movie has a lot of great performances in here. There's a lot of character actors. There's a lot of big-name actors.
There's a lot of good actors.
Yeah, and I think they all really shine.
Senator,
You got any idea what you're up against? You're up against a Rourke.
I'm ready for your worst.
Boy, you don't even want to dream about my worst.
You'd be smart to kill me now.
Jessica Alba is really good as the Nancy the stripper. She was in the first film, and now she's kind of become a little bit more of a alcoholic and going through some personal problems. I thought Jessica Alba was really strong here.
Yeah.
I really liked Eva Green as her character. She was just Eva. She's a very seductive, person that really uses a lot of the characters.
I liked her character too. I mean, it was a little over the top with the nudity all the time, but yeah, that's what she's known for. So
I'm gonna give it a mild recommendation. It's not as good as the first film, but I think it's watchable, and I think people will be entertained by it. But I think that it might have been a little bit too long, and I think it lost a little bit about what made the first film, in my opinion, a really good movie.
Yeah, it did seem like, because I looked at the clock on my cell phone, I thought it was later, because it did seem like a longer movie. But and then I glanced at it again, and then it's like, all right, now it's getting to be about the time that this should be wrapping up. But then but then the movie was still going, and I was like, oh wow. I think it seemed like it's like longer than they said it was.
Yeah, it's like what, an hour 42 minutes.
Yeah, 42, 43.
It felt
yeah.
longer. It felt longer.
Yeah.
Not a bad movie, but for me, not as good as the first one.
It didn't drag though. At least it kept exciting for the most
I
part.
don't know. I think it did have spots where it dragged for me. Like there were times where I felt like, okay, I get the point, or I felt like you said, you know, is this movie going to be wrapping up, or is this segment going to be wrapping up soon? So
I'm also gonna say see it in theaters too, because I enjoyed it. Not as, like I said, I kind of like this one better than the first one. Really, the first one's good, but this one's got a little more to it. So.